Hello and welcome to Find It on this Wednesday evening. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're on replay, that's good too. So I have a very special guest to me tonight, and her name is Jamie Coburn Van Horn, and she's from these parts originally. She can tell us a little bit about that. But she and I met at the radio station, Raw with Mindy and Boots, 610 WTVN, and she actually had me back on the radio with her last Sunday, and we had a really good time. But we have some information about what we would like to do that we are currently working on, working together. And I can't wait till you meet her. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to show her video, and she will be right back with us. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's so good to see your face.
Listen, back at you. I'm doing well. I've got your sweater on here that I love it. I have not taken it off. I mean, it is the most comfortable. I've got to get this in black too. I'm already
it's
buying for
you
that.
said, oh my gosh, it's like a blanket. It's like a
I mean, it is lovely. It's lovely. And I said to a girlfriend who actually I had two compliments just today. I said, it's like a little hug. I mean, it just is just constantly. I love it. So it's my first purchase at Studio 11 Style. And
this t-shirt came in today.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that funny? I mean, I'm not selling them, but I'm trying to promote it. Like, hey, it's the best billboard ever, right? Walking around in my shirt.
I love it. Listen, I got mine. Always have it.
Oh yeah. I saw, you know what? I loved when I saw you have that on before. Align Health, which is your company. Let's dive right into it. Let's get right into you, because this is what this is about. I'm so glad I found you. Okay, so you are from around here in Ohio, Southern Ohio, right?
Yes, I am. I'm from Portsmouth.
Yes, that's right. And you have family in Ross County.
I do.
And then you you lived in Portsmouth all growing up, right?
Correct. Born and raised, and then went to the Ohio State University. Went back to Portsmouth to practice for about the first 10 years, and then moved back to Columbus.
Well, okay, so when you say practice, give us an idea. I know what you do. Tell us what you do.
Sure. I'm an occupational therapist by profession. Been practicing for almost 30 years now. I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's been a whirlwind. It's been excellent. It's been awesome, all of the above. But, I think I've reached that age, where you're early 50s. You're like, oh,
how is it? Like, you feel like, how have I been doing something for 30 years? I don't feel like I should be over 30 years old.
I know. I've been practicing. I've been practicing longer than some of my employees were even alive. It's just like, but wise old Al over here, Debbie. Just call me that.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So there's some things I know about you that are inspiring. And some of the things that I know about you is with your personal life. And if you don't mind, can you explain to us your path in life that brought you to where you are today, especially in with your child?
Oh, absolutely. So let's see here. It would be almost 13 years ago, actually. I was given a referral from an agency that we were partnering with at that time that was involved with a foster family. It was a foster mother. And I went in and I'm, doing my thing and got everything out. And I'm talking with the foster mother and looking at this child. And all of a sudden, I always say this brown little nugget came running around and just kind of tapped me on the shoulder. And it was like, hi. And I was like, wow, look at you, and kind of, it was nicety, whatever, and went back to it. And like this overwhelm. I can't even describe it. It just came over me. And it was just like he caught my eye. And I thought, man, he's just a cutie, kind of one of those I'll eat him for lunch kind of mentality, right? And talked to the foster mom just about the environment, right, for this other kiddo I was seeing that was having a lot of disturbances, and left. And as I shared with you in our coffee with no coffee meeting, right? I walked out and as I say to my story, whatever you believe, I believe in God, and I literally, one and only time in my life, literally was spoken to by God, heard his voice like he was standing there between you and I right now. And he said, "Do you like him?" And I kind of remember looking up, and I was on the front porch, and the sun was coming down, and I was like, "Yeah." And I thought, if anybody sees me, they're going to think I'm nuts. And I go, "Yeah." And then, God had said, "Well, that's good, because you're going to be his mother." And I remember, and I was like, and I walked down on the stairs. I was like, "No, no, no." And I'm talking to myself this whole time. And I'm like, "No, no, no." And at the time I was dating my current husband. And, you get in the car after work, when he calls and he's like, "Hey, how was your day?" "It was good. It was good." And kind of pregnant pause, and, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "What do you think about adopting a child?" And I mean, at the time we were, this was our second, relationship, and going into marriage. Obviously, we were both married before. And he said, "You're serious?" And I said, "Dead." I said, "Listen, the big guy talked to me." And he's like, "Whoa, wait a minute. Have you been drinking?
Yeah.
Have you lost your mind?" And I was like, I'm telling you, I know. It's nuts.
Wait a minute. So you had, at this point, you had only seen your brown little nugget one time, and he came. How old was he?
2.
He was 2, and he came right up to you, got your eye, and he said, "Hi."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was with the foster family.
Yes.
What? And then you really heard a voice say, "Do you like him?"
I mean, like, I have never heard, and I was raised in church. I grew up Catholic, and I mean, went to a Catholic school, went to Notre Dame in Portsmouth, and the whole 9 yards, and obviously had a spiritual life, right? But never. Sure. I mean, never. This was like wacko.
Wow.
And I never had that again, right? But I mean, it was so crystal clear. Wow. And that, when times are tough, and Debbie, you've got 2 kids of your own. I mean, when times are tough, I'm like, "Hey, listen,
thanks a lot."
Jesus, take the wheel. I mean, it's like, you got me into this. And it just is, it's insane. I mean, I can't even explain it. And people are like, "Oh God, Jamie, that is, that's so wonderful that you did that." And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like I wasn't planning, I was divorced. I had a major car accident that I thought almost ended my career. I mean, I had cervical fusion, got hit head on by a drunk driver. I mean, like all these major life events. And here was this child that came in, and I'm like, okay. I mean, it was so intentional. I'm not going to say natural, because nothing about adoption is natural.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, but it was just intentional. I mean, it was like, and we had let me tell you, I mean, it's been nuts. The adoption.
Okay, but I want to know just a little bit more for the audience. So that was the beginning of it. You heard the voice, you knew you liked him. And then what happened after that? Like, you talked to your fiance.
I mean, I talked to my then, significant other. You don't really call him boyfriend when you're 47 years old. Yeah. But I mean, I said, and then we're kind of joking. He's like, "Okay. I mean, we can talk about it." And I said, I laugh about it now. I mean, I handle stress in life with laughter. I mean, that's just me. And I said, "Well, before you, we had a boat, we had a Wave Runner, I had a BMW, and now I have none of it, and I have a kid."
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how it goes. But it was just intentional. Like, I wanted to have children, and I had a lot of infertility issues with my first husband, and we did, IVF, and spent a whole lot of money, and God knows. I mean,
wow. I did not know that. I did not know that, Jamie.
Yeah. I went through a lot of IV. I mean, just the whole 9 yards. Going to Cincinnati, because we were in Portsmouth every week, and spent a lot of money, and did get pregnant, and then miscarried at 12 weeks.
Aw.
And devastating then. Obviously, of course, but now it's like, okay, this is what I was meant to do. And when everybody's like, it's on God's time, and he kind of laughs, and when nothing works, so I want it to, I'm like, okay. All right.
Mhm.
You know,
That is, and when I actually met you for the very first time, you had your son with you at the radio station, and he had a book and he was reading, and remember I said,
he was bribed.
he was bribed, but he was so good, but, and just beautiful, like you said, I mean, he's grown into a handsome young man. I mean, he's 13 now, right?
He's
Or
14.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, just with, like, motherhood in general, it has a lot of, and parent, I mean, I'm just saying, but as a mother, I can speak, that you do have a lot of things that happen as you're raising them that we just don't know how to handle because you've never done it before, and then having the hurdles of also adding adoption to that, I'm sure wasn't easy, right?
No, I mean, I knew nothing about adoption. I mean, nothing about the foster system. I mean, I, as a clinician, had always seen foster children, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those were cases that when no one knew what to do, they called me, right? And I went in and we got game plans and things of that in place, but never. I mean, never, ever, ever. And as we navigated this journey,
Yeah.
it was more so of I just said, okay, maybe I'm just supposed to be his big sister. Like we'll be a big sister, big brother, right? And kind of take the child and go do fun things and and all that kind of stuff. So we did that, right? I mean, we were just like, okay, let's take him for ice cream and let's take him, whatever. And we did this kind of like respite stuff. And then just it was, I mean, even my husband now who was like, what are you doing, and he said there's no option. I mean, this child's ours. I mean, it was just literally the intention of how that flows. And I mean, it's been challenging. I mean, foster is definitely challenging, but definitely I followed the suit of God's not going to give you what you can't take.
Mhm.
And it's been a hell of a ride. I mean, there's no doubt, but that brought me to that just another piece in my life that I knew I needed to create a line. Period. I mean, I knew
Okay,
I needed
so
to do
you
it.
guys, Align Health is the company that she owns, started, founded, all of the things. And it led you to Align how?
Well, I mean, I started the line in 2010. And so, he came obviously a little after, but not by many. I mean, not by many years at all. But it was more so of me kind of doing it. It was like a side hustle, Debbie. I
Yeah.
mean, it was kind of like, and then I was a national consultant. I did other OT, started OT practices and all that kind of stuff. But it was this that I said, okay, and I'm going to tell you why. Just like with anything that's come up with the line, I've been given those opportunities, I'll say, that other institutions or clinicians have failed. And I'm not saying that egocentrically. It just kind of comes to me. And maybe it's stubbornness, maybe it's being that redneck hillbilly that I am that says no, but it's that tenacity that I said, okay, I need to do this, and really aligning with the people that I needed to survive, not thrive. I mean, I needed to survive being a mother to this foster child that I knew nothing about the system. And
Nothing.
and that's really kind of, it just pushed me with more intention to say, okay, to where we are today, which we see a lot of kiddos, right? And we see those kiddos that are obscure,
Yeah.
and it's the ADHD, the executive functioning, the other kiddos that no one really knows what to do with them. I mean, because
Mm.
they're always very highly intelligent, but they're quirky and they don't, no one can get them. And I love those. Like, give me that case all the time, right? And
Oh,
so
wow.
that's it was just aligning providers, and it was kind of like, hey, you want to jump on my bus? Okay, come on. And we just did it, right? And to be able to, over this 30-year career, really rely on people that I've trusted and gained to know, and so that typical therapy that we all go to and we all know them, right? I mean, you
Yes.
get a doc, you write an order, you go there because that's what takes insurance, and but that's not always the right answer for everyone,
How do
right?
you figure this out? I mean, how do you figure out what someone needs?
Well, I mean, it's just they often come to us because they say, "Hey, listen, I if it's an orthopedic related issue, right? I mean, my orthopedist did awesome. I mean, everything in that joint is great, right? But I wasn't real satisfied with my therapy, and they said my insurance ran out, or they said I was done, and I still can't walk my dog. I still can't pick up my grandkid. I still can't, and it was constant, and I said, well." And it was always that statement of, well, they said this is my new normal. And I'm like, well, what do you think? And they're like, I think it sucks. I'm like, well, then don't take that answer. And so, again, rallying that team that now that we can, because we are not under the confines of insurance, we're an out of network provider. And
Hmm.
so, it's very bluntly said, we are for those people that want to invest in themselves and do that with a collaborative approach, right? So if they need something, then we can get it, and those are the kiddos like Cam
Yeah.
that traditional systems were failing me as a mom.
Yes, and how blessed is he and all the kids that you work
Oh,
with to be
thank you.
able to have that, not it, and it isn't just the education you have. I feel like it's just you. There are people who have an education, but it doesn't necessarily come naturally, and I just feel like you're a natural at this. How did you decide what to go into? I mean, when you graduated from The Ohio State University, was it to go on and become an OT?
You ask my parents, and they'll probably laugh while rewatching this. They never knew what's Jamie majoring in now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was I started out in that in pre med.
Okay.
I mean, and then I mean, I went from pre med to well, I hate that. Maybe I'll do a pharmacy. Nope, not going to do that. Can't do organic chem. Maybe I'll just be a teacher. And then I did that, and it was like, what in the hell? And I just kept saying, I want a little bit of A and I want a little bit of Z,
Yeah.
and I was introduced to OT through another I would say friend, at that time. And I just started looking, I was like, this is it. Like
Well, because
I
not
want
only you're also, if you even considered being a teacher, you kind of have to know how to teach people
to
too as an OT. So it's not just therapy like that, it's a
yeah, it's
combination. So give me
100%
an idea. Wait a minute. I see someone, let's see. Terry, I manage an outpatient, I can't pronounce it.
palliative.
Yeah, care
Right.
practice, which is also unknown territory. I get what she is saying. We fight for our patients daily. Communication and knowledge is key.
Amen. Amen, Terry. Good
Yeah.
for you. And I applaud you. I mean, palliative care
See?
practice, we work a lot with palliative care and
Yeah.
hospice at a line where we have massage. That is a very underutilized service in hospice care. And we're doing that and in our PTs, especially, but also our OTs. I mean, we have an unbelievable program, which, I'm excited to say Debbie and I are going to do a lot with, right?
Yeah.
And that's called our lifestyle management program. And we really look at those key core components that make that person whole and align them in those key components for their health. I mean, hence align health, no pun intended. And
Right.
it's really where, the instant that I met you, I was like, first of all, I mean, look at you, dynamo. I mean, just got it together, and we're about the same age, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And I'm like, this is a powerhouse. And I loved what you represented because you kind of came from it the same way, right? We've talked about that. You're kind of coming from it from the outside package, but know how important it is that if
Yeah.
you're not aligned inside, then the
Mhm.
package is just the package, right? I
That's
mean, you
right.
got to know how to strut it. You got to know how to do it. And you do. And you found that in your journey, as we've talked about, right? From that, that
Yes.
butterfly of a cocoon into all of that, spread your wings. And that's not many people get it. And that's where I'm so humbled by the opportunity to work with you, Deb, and really because we see these people that have lived in, part of my language, hell for a lot of
Mhm.
years. I mean, whether it's chronic pain or mental health issues or whatever, that is what they thought and was told their new normal, constant, right?
Yeah.
They just want to feel good. And so we get them feeling good. And now they're like, I just want to look good. Right. And it's like, I got a guy. And
You got
that's
a
been,
guy. You
you know,
do.
that's been the
That's the
mentality that
crazy
I've had.
thing though. We have taught our society in this day and age that if something doesn't feel good, just take some pills or just don't worry, it's just the way it is. You're aging or well, you had an injury, so you're going to have pain. It's like explain it away, just get over it instead of like where you're coming from is the whole package, like you said, not just plucking leaves off the tree. Let's look at the roots. Let's look what's under the surface. Let's figure it out. And I love that. And the other part about you is you're not going to give up. You're going to figure it out. I know you well enough now that you're going to figure it out. Ted. Hi, Ted. Hi, ladies. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too, Ted.
Yeah, Ted, hello. Thanks for joining us. I mean,
It's
I'm
just,
just very excited, Deb. I mean, in regards to, I mean, we've been in the brainstorming session, right? And
yes.
2024 is going to be our year, and just so excited to be able, because again, as you said, you'll probably meet those individuals that say they're thinking they're going to heal themselves by putting on great clothes, which is awesome, right? Everybody wants to do that, but they're still like, it's like, and you're like, no, 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 no. I got, and so
I got you.
it's that internal kind of blossoming, but then
Yeah.
putting that package on with a great sweater, right? And I mean, today, I mean, all joking aside, I mean, today was hell. I mean, it was
Yeah.
long, right? And I'm just like constantly like,
I'm gonna warm up
and,
and get a hog in my sweater.
everybody, I mean, everybody today are like, love that sweater. I'm like, yeah, I tell you where to get it. I mean,
Oh,
but
that's
it was
awesome.
just it's so awesome. I mean, just in regards to the fact of having, to me, I'm always looking at how can I get, I mean, I'm a solution solver. And so
Yes.
that's the thing, right? And really being able to have that and unconventional, people are be like, you've got a what? I'm like, no, I
Mhm.
mean, I get this gal is the real deal, and she's going to come and she's motivational and she's real. She
Mhm.
gets it,
Yeah,
and I love it.
Terry's at saying that you are correct, that their office fight for the patient and treat the whole body prior to hospice. The fight with insurance is real. It is very humbling to make sure that their new normal is living their best life prior to hospice care. I
Absolutely.
hear you. She says, I hear you. We hear you too, Terry Lynn,
That's right.
down in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's
Um,
so, I mean, it's so humbling to meet someone like a Terry. I mean, we're on this fight and on some of our services, they see no boundaries, right? So we do a
mhm.
lot of telehealth services and it just is, hey, listen, I always say, come on, Red Rover, let's hold a
Bring them on over.
all over, and it just, we've got to do it. We got to fight the fight,
So
and
tell us, okay, I want to know a little bit more about, so you specifically are an OT, you have PTs working for you, tell me where you are, where you go currently. I know you telehealth and all of that, but you actually physically go to different places and you have some aspiring goals as well for wellness centers, right?
Mhm.
But tell us a little bit about like a day.
Yeah, so we are headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, kind of the Arlington area, right outside of Upper Arlington, right on Kitty Road and right off of 315. So that's our headquarters, and that's one of our wellness centers there. And we have another center inside of Next Level Fitness and Training, which is a 22,000 square foot fitness facility in Westerville, Ohio. And then we have another location that I'm very proud to say we just opened in more of what I would reference as a very boutique
Mhm.
fitness institution. I'm going to say it that way because they are just dynamic, and that's called Blueprint Fitness, and that is ran by a powerhouse gal that gets it. I
Yeah.
mean, period, right? And she understands, and she and I hooked up that says, we can bring value to each other, and I love that. That's the people I want. We are opening another clinic, and this is more of our specialty in sports performance and rehab. Very honored and blessed to have partnered with two different entities. One is Sporting Columbus, which is a private elite soccer
Oh
club
yeah.
here in Columbus, and they are kind of they were at once affiliated with the Columbus Crew. They kind of branched out, and now they're on their own and they're independent from that. That's ran by Jeff Warren.
That's huge.
Yeah, a phenomenal guy. I mean, Jeff, I'm just so always envious and respectful of that man and what he's done, and just has a powerhouse elite training program. And then on the flip side, gymnastics. We are opening a clinic in January with UGI, which is Universal Gymnast Incorporated, and they're in Hilliard, and they are a very, very high elite gymnastics training facility where these kids are, they're destined for college, full rides,
Wow.
Olympians. These kids are, they pull from about a 2-hour radius, and they are looking for, again, I mean, it's much like what you and I talked about, Deb, right? I mean, you have these kids and you're investing in them.
Yeah.
And at that level, right? I mean, these kids are being invested in, right? I mean, it's an investment because they're looking at college,
right?
I mean, college expensive now, right? So these parents are really investing, and the worst thing, oh my God, that could happen is them to get injured. And
yep.
so, we are going to be opening a wellness center right there to really look at prevention. And the owner, Brett Norman, there is a phenomenal man. And he said, we kind of laughed, and I said, listen, I want to keep him out of therapy. Right. I mean, let's do everything we can to not have them injured. And he was like, that's what I like to hear.
So that's cool. So that's like part of what you do. So let's not wait until these kids or adults or whoever you work with get injured. This is how you can, stretch your body, do these exercises to strengthen these muscles so you don't get injured.
Right.
That's what I love.
It's not just about that physically. I mean, we look at mental wellness, physical wellness, nutritional health, sleep health, and social emotional well-being.
Right.
So we look at all of that, and we feel like that, if all of those are aligned, right, then you have the most optimal mind body wellness approach.
See, this is the thing. It's the full package, like you said. And it made me laugh when you were talking about, you want to wrap up a present with a really pretty bow, but you don't want to open that present at Christmas and there's nothing inside, or a pile of poop, right? So there you go, right? So you're working it all around to get it to just be, because people that don't feel good, they're not going to feel like dressing up or even shopping, right? So like you said, you can get them all together, physically and mentally, because you do that side of it too. But then when I come in, it's more like, let's get you set for your body type. Let's let you feel good in what you're wearing, the full package, the bow on the top. This is a couple more comments here. What great work you are doing. I applaud you and your tenacity to keep the fight you are fighting. We need more like you in this world. Keep up the good fight. Let's get your message out there. Amen to you again, Terry. Gosh. Good job.
Bring it on, Terry. Bring it
on, Terry. Yes, Ted. Ted is in Illinois, and he said that they need this in Illinois also. Well, I think Jamie needs to be everywhere, but she's one person. But I know she could make it happen. If anybody could, it could be Jamie. But telehealth. So
you do well. To kind of wrap up too, I was going to say is that we're in Hilliard, and then we're in Westerville, we're in Columbus, and then we have a location in Circleville, and that's with a group of nurse practitioners. They do more aesthetics. Yeah. So that's really where I got years ago, actually, but got in and very blessed to have them with IV hydration. They do a lot more of aesthetics. They talk about really kind of aging from the inside out. Yes. Which is so awesome. And so, from that, we do IV hydration, and that is my secret sauce right there. Let me tell you, Deb. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done that. Have you ever had an IV hydration?
Yes, I have.
I haven't. And I mean, to the point where I actually am not taking it as probably 70% less of supplements because and it's cheaper. And I just get an IV hydration. And because you get and this is something that I've been educated. And for those, listeners, when you're looking at this and you're feeling down, I mean, whether it be social, emotional, whatever it is, right? I mean, that hydration that you want, but also adding those other entities in with that is just, you get 100% absorption rate.
Yeah, because so like what? Like if you add like vitamin C, or what do you put in there?
Well, you can have zinc and I get what's called the Myers cocktail. So I get it all.
Vodka, orange juice. Okay.
Yeah, coffee in one arm and
yeah.
But But
Okay.
I do that, and I feel $1 million. But as an employer too, I have a team of 30, and so I had a therapist call, and she was like, "I'm feeling terrible." I'm like, So as an employer, I invest in my employees, right? So I
Yeah.
sent her down. She got an IV. She called me. She's like, "That was amazing." And guess what? She's back at work. And
Yeah.
so
Well,
for
see, this is a segue for us to talk about this. Just like when we were talking and you said, even with massage, you say to your, this is a job for PTs, OTs. The management of other people's health can be taxing. It can be extremely wearing on your workers, and you know that, and so you invest in them, and like
oh,
even gift them massages
all the
and
time.
like hydration therapy and all of these things, which is what part of what you do when you go in for companies who want to gift their employees employee appreciation, or you want the lunches that you do, like wellness lunches and things like that, where we all know if our employers treat the employees well and good they feel good internally and mentally, and they know that they're investing in them, they're going to be way more productive.
Oh, I mean, we're opening a wellness center literally today. It's in an assisted living here in Westerville, very more of an elite assisted living. And I mean, it was so comical. We had a little happy hour there, right? And so they all, their average age is about 85, 82, 85. They were in there getting massages, and they came
Oh,
out and they're like, the one lady was like, oh, and she loved it, but she said, it's just nice to have that touch. And I
yeah.
feel good. And
Hmm.
and she said, she goes, "Man, my skin feels alive." And she was smiling. And I mean, she was
Oh,
just,
love
but on the
that.
flip side, we are going to be doing a lot with that assisted living and their employees. The employer is allowing us to go in, but they're also pouring into their employees. And we're going to be doing monthly kind of massage offers. And
Ooh,
I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, the day and age of here's a pedometer, walk the stairs, don't take the elevator for employee health is over. I
right.
mean, I think if anything, what promoted that was COVID. We had a lot of time to reflect internally, and
Yes.
now we're a little, egocentric, which is
Yep.
okay sometimes, right? Like, no,
Hmm.
what's this going to be for me? Kind of
Well,
mentality. And
quality of life,
oh,
quality of life. If we're
totally,
living this life, I mean, let's not like drudge through it. And also, I
yeah,
think people did through 2020 realize that having that time with family, even though it was a terrifying time, but also there were so many women that left the workplace after COVID because of just realizing, I think my priorities have changed. And so employers are having to get a little bit, which they should, but I mean, maybe it was just a little nudge in the right direction of showing their employees appreciation and also giving them the space and a place to work that is a great environment. So I think that's
100%.
important.
I mean, I think all of it, right? And we're looking forward to, working with you and then bringing that on, right? Like,
Yeah.
how awesome would it be? And my team is totally excited. We talked about that in our monthly call about this,
Yeah.
in Q1 having kind of like a stylist day. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, she's going to come. And I mean,
Yeah.
just fun and team
Yeah.
building and really giving, globally at the granular level, right, for the employees. And I'm humbled by the team. I'm humbled by the opportunity to work with people like yourself and docs that we have, and I just
Yeah.
feel good about it. We're doing the right thing, I
Yes.
believe, at the right time,
Hmm.
and people are they're expecting it versus it just being kind of like a like, oh, okay, maybe I'll treat myself. No, no, no.
Yeah.
You need to have a life like this. I mean, that,
One of the things that made me laugh when we were talking, I said, wow, when you start working with people who just don't feel well, whether it's an injury or just elderly or even children who are just so frustrated because they learn differently or they've come from a different background and they're trying to express and it's just difficult, all of these different things. But I said, oh, I bet they're grumpy. And you said, oh, they're my favorite.
love them. Love him.
Love those grumpy
Today,
ones.
today, Deb, I'll share. We go to assisted living, and Bob is sitting there, and he's kind of sitting there like this. I'm like, Bob, can I get you anything? And he's like, wine. And I'm like, and so
Cheers.
I go, I go over and I get him a little glass of wine, and I give it to him, and his daughter was sitting there, and she was like, like, oh, he's, and so he sat there, and I looked at him. I said, Bob, what else can I get you? You want me to use some cheese and crackers? And I went over and I said, Bob, let's go over and get a massage. Massage? It was like, what? And I said, yeah. And so I kept kind of prying him. He went over there and they got him a chair massage. She came out, he's like, I thought you were crazy, Blondie, but let me tell you. And that makes me chuckle. But at the same time, who knows what Bob's story was today, and Bob's got a little mental decline, but at the end of the day, he was smiling. Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
It is.
Right?
I want to see what Terry's saying to us. 100% of what you put out to the team, you get back. Spot on, girl. I also started a book club with my team to teach working and life skills. Our first book is Who Moved My Cheese, which addresses how to handle change. Networking and conversations like this are key. You bet they are. I mean, it really is. And also, just like Jamie, you're a fun person. You're a high vibing energy. I was attracted to you right away. People feel that from those who genuinely want to put out good energy to other people. It's you have it. So you're fun. And I know that you can take a lot. So like, even if someone's grumpy with you, it's fine. You're just like, it's fine. We get through it.
Challenge. Right? I look at it as a challenge, right? Because at the end of the day, we're not bred, if you will, to be grumpy, right? And it's always kind of like the investigative kind of approach to me. I'm like, there's something in there, right? Like, if it's a kiddo that's deemed as behavior, right? Like, oh, he's a behavior kid. No, he's not. He's a great kid. His name is Cam. And he's a good kid. He just, you're just not giving him his voice. Or it could be the 85-year-old grumpy Bob, right? But after a while, it was kind of like, maybe Bob doesn't share a story. Maybe Cam doesn't share a story. But if they're smiling for that one time, right? They add joy. Yes. And that's powerful, in regards to that. So yeah.
Terry, I'm wearing mine right now. She's talking about the bracelets.
I know. I got to get mine. I'm getting definitely. I can't say this a bunch on the team because my team will know what's happening. But yeah.
Thank you for that, Terry. That was a beautiful order that you placed with me for all your people. But I want to first. I didn't even put on the ticker. By the way, my producer is off this evening, so I've been doing this all by myself. Just FYI.
Oh, you're doing good.
I'm doing fine, but I didn't put how to contact you. I think in your bio it says, but usually on the ticker I will put something. But Jamie, and first of all, anyone who's on here that knows me, if you need to get a hold of Jamie for her services, please let me know. Or Align Health Group. Align Health Group out of Columbus. That's her company, and she is on fire, and she is amazing. And I would put anybody with her for help. And so just so to recap it, the services you provide, which are, I don't know if you can name them all, but in a nutshell, the services you provide, Jamie, with Align Health Group are?
We have physical therapy and occupational therapy. We have medical social work. We have massage. We have dietitian nutrition services. We have therapeutic personal training. We have health coaching, wellness coaching. And we also have women's health. We have chronic pain therapy, which is unbelievable. And we have a great therapist that is doing a lot of different kind of specialty, both in women's health, men's health, and as well as chronic pain. And we have a sports performance and rehab, which is led by our PT. And we also have a golf program. We have a pediatric program, and then we do workplace wellness.
That is that. Now I'm telling you guys, every time I try to connect with Jamie, she's always on it, but we'll finally connect. And she's like, well, I'm on my way here and I'm on my way there, but you still manage it. It's your company, but you also are more hands-on of owner of the company, right?
Yeah. I'm seeing patients tomorrow down in Chillicothe. And
Okay.
so, and I love that. I mean, and that, there's something about, that, Deb, that I love, and I know that you do, right? Like someone's going to call you and say, "Hey, Deb, I need this," right?
Yeah.
And I've built. Everybody's always asked me, like, Jamie, who's your backer, and who else owns it?
Yeah.
And I started on, a wing and a prayer and a lot of tenacity and a hell of a lot of work. But I'm proud to say that, I like to put people in their strength zones. And I mean that intentionally. I mean, we go through a whole process to
Yeah.
identify their strengths, and we play to that, because then it becomes a career and a life and not a job. And people love it, right? Like, what's your game plan? Let's make it happen, and things of that nature. Because I was always that employee that everybody was trying to shove in that
Into
hole.
a
And
box.
I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, I need to spread my wings, and things of that nature. So that's the culture and the environment that I really want to create and align. And
Yeah.
there's intention, right? I want to align my employees with their health and wellness. That's why they do that. Align them with their passion, and align other people. So I love getting out in the field. I mean, I'm doing the meetings, but I have a powerhouse leadership team, business development, and operations and compliance and brand management. I mean, I couldn't do it without them. I have, right? But now,
Yeah.
now I'm blessed to have that team and the resources to be able to do it. And every year we grow, we invest a little bit more.
Yeah, and
But,
that's the key too. Like what Terry was saying earlier is the investments that you make in your employees, they're happy working with you. They love it. Obviously, they're there. You have such great people that you also are hiring people with the same mindset and likeness of you, that want to help the full package and not just pluck those leaves off and figure out roots of what is happening in your body so you can get to the point where you feel good enough to then want to dress up, and then bring
that's
Debbie in. And
absolutely.
I'm like, let's do this. And if nothing else, we're going to have fun, girl. We will have a
Listen,
good
preach
time.
on, girl.
Your
Preach
people will have
on.
fun. Terry did say this, that she is very happy to have met you through Find It. Let's network and get Jamie's information out there.
Oh, thank you,
Absolutely,
Terry.
Terry.
I'm happy to come down to Hotlanta sometime.
Hotlanta, baby. Hotlanta. Man, it is like the surface of the sun, too,
I
when you
love
go
it.
there in the
Listen, I love Atlanta.
I do
When
too.
I was traveling consulting, that was one of my favorite. Buckhead,
Really?
love that place.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Um, I always ask the same question to every single guest at the end, but before we get there, have we not covered something that you would really like this audience to know?
I mean, not so much obviously with the line, but me personally. I mean, I love what you're about, Deb, and finding it, right? And my thing is that once you find it, make sure you're aligned in it. And those are really always kind of my taglines. I mean, I just have been able to really, I get emotional when I say it, but I mean, I built this team with a lot of hard ass work, and it's been that just, I found it and I just kept driving forward with it. And so those, maybe that are listening or maybe seeing on replay later on, that may say, man, I just don't think I can do it. You can do it. Align yourself with the right people, right? And they'll build you up when you're feeling down. And
Mhm.
and that's what I would say, right? We're
I
here if
love
you need
that.
we're here if you need us, right? But if we aren't the people, we'll find somebody. I'm no, absolutely humbled by the fact of someone just reaching out and saying, "Hey, can you help us?" I'm like, well, maybe not, but we'll find the person that can. So, that's what I would think that I would want to say. And I feel like that I've started the company with that mindset, and that's how the universe has paid it back. Just looking at that servant leadership and that servant heart,
Mhm.
that we've been able to achieve what we can, and so Kelly Johnson, my childhood friend, which I didn't even know you knew, Deb, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I want Kelly to know that I ate that whole box of brownies that she brought. That, guys, oh my gosh, they were so good. I'm not even really a sweet tooth person, and I hammered those. In a few days, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like 2 left, and I gave them away because I thought I'm gonna literally. I did eat really the whole box, but
you
like
should.
it was so good. I know, and I thought, okay, once they're gone, that's it. That's
Can't
it for a
eat
minute.
anymore once they're gone, Deb.
Oh, I know. Well, I meant I'm not gonna go get more. I'm not gonna be like, can I order some of those? Kelly, you're so sweet. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, look, she said, I'll bring more. Don't you dare. I can't not eat them. They were haunting me. Like I got up at night one night and I thought just a little bite.
Oh, a little late night snack.
A little snackaroo.
I love it.
Oh, I was like, oh, Kelly, that was such a sweet. And they were so pretty. The way she presents them, I was like, oh gosh, everything's great. Like the way they look and taste. It was a no-brainer to eat those. All right. Well, to wrap it up, I want to, so be looking out for the Jamie and Debbie team because it's going to happen. And we have some really cool ideas and we have some people that we've been talking to get this ball rolling with our idea. It's going to be really great. I don't know that anyone else is doing this, but leave it to Jamie to have this idea. The other thing I wanted to ask you is that since the show is called Find It, Jamie, what have you found in life that you can share with us to inspire us to find it too?
What I have found is just is an opportunity. I'm going to say that. And the opportunity is to be able to follow my passion. And if anything, really validate who I was as a person. Because oftentimes, as I said, I was shoved into that, mindset. And once I was able to really embrace my strengths, which sometimes were looked at like, but I found it, right? I mean, it was that validation to say, you know what, I'm all right. Yeah. And I think that people are going to want that. And what I've said oftentimes about Align is that, if I need it, then I'm sure everybody else does too, right? There's many other people that do. And so, I think inspiring anyone to find it is just be authentic, find out who you are.
Oh, amen to that.
It may not be what is accepted, right? Who cares? You got one chance at this life. And, there was so many times that I was living myself, in the image of whatever. And I finally bluntly said, screw it. And just, and once I felt good in my own skin, it flourished. I mean, it just went haywire. And really people just come into your life when they should be, when you have found it. But if you're not true to yourself, don't go finding someone else's. You got to find your own.
Woo. Jamie.
Preach, girl.
That's a mic dropper right there. Oh, girl. Hang with me in the back just for a second, Jamie, so I can talk to you. We're going to have champagne and mints in the green room. Hang tight. But you guys, thanks for being here. If you guys want to reach out to Jamie, it is Align Health Group out of Columbus, but she's all over and amazing. She and I are going to be working together. Stay tuned for that. And if you don't want to reach out and you want me to reach out to her for you or however the middleman or just work straight to her, that's fine with me. Ask me. I will connect you with Jamie. We are connectors. We love that. So I will see you all again next Wednesday, same time, different guest. And don't forget to find it. Talk to you later.
See you guys.
That floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall